Today was a date with destiny. It was the final boss of 7.4 and Act 7 in general, Kang. But not just a normal Kang, a superior Kang. This Kang is from the future and his boss fight is one of the coolest in the game. It is so cool how he time warps and all that. So I was excited but also nervous because if I remember correctly, this dude was super annoying to go against, so I was cautiously excited. But first, some rank ups here. This is Omega Sentinel going to rank 2, and Omega Sentinel is going to be my tech carry because I need one of those. I need a strong tech champion that can just be reliable, and she is a very reliable tech character. She has armor up, she has heal block, she has cowardice, she has some great damage output as well, so she is a great investment overall. And rank 2 for now because I don't want to use any class catalyst at the moment. I just want to play it safe and just make sure I have any resource that I need for emergencies. So here goes Cassie Lang to rank 2. Now Cassie Lang is a fantastic champion, and despite having Sandman rank 3, I still think she is a great rank up because Cassie Lang and Sandman are completely different champions. Cassie Lang is a Power Sting buff immune champion. Sandman is a triple immune slow champion, or I guess decelerate, but pretty much the same thing. So they have very different uses overall, so that was why I took up both of these characters. And Power Sting is such a useful ability as well, so having that at the ready is always a good thing. Power Sting is so criminally underrated as one of the best damage forms in the game, and to prove it, look how few there are that are Power Sting damage dealers. That's because it is such a good damage form. Same thing with Degeneration and True Damage. So Cassie Lang is leveled up now, and now I can begin the journey to Act 7 completion. And Act 7 completion has some great stuff at the end of it, including a 6-star Nexus Crystal. So I am pumped for that, man. So first up, this Ultron boss, and I use Cassie Lang here. Already getting some use, which is perfect. I wanted to make sure that she was going to have at least some use in this account run, and she does. She really does play a big part in this. All of my ranked up champions do in the end of it, like Archangel, Sandman, Cassie Lang, Omega Sentinel, all just play a major part in creating this account. And this Ultron boss is pretty straightforward. He has Make a Stand, and he also has this node called One-Eyed Bandit. So this is pretty much a gimped version of the 5.4 Ultron boss because that boss had Impart, and Impart is One-Armed Bandit but 1,000 times worse. So it is just a very not easy fight, but just more relaxing, I guess, more stress-free. And Cassie Lang just melts this Ultron because Ultron is usually a problem for me because most of my champions are energy damage dealers. But Cassie Lang is Power Sting, and like I said, Power Sting is just that good of an ability. So she can just bypass Ultron's energy res, his armors, all that. And like I said, man, Power Sting, you gotta have a good Power Sting character. There is Cassie Lang, there is Spider-Ham. Heck, if you even like Yellow Jacket, he is a fantastic champion as well. Some pretty strong utility over there. And this boss fight is not too shabby at all. It is Sabretooth, and he has this node where he gets a Fury of 1,000% potency, but the duration is reduced per debuff on him. And Omega Sentinel has a ton of debuffs, so it is a pretty straightforward fight, and she's just such a fun champion to play. I know she is a bit stressful at times. Trust me, I know, I played her a ton, so I can really tell you that, yeah, she is pretty stressful, but when she works super well. When the opponent plays ball, then she has such great damage output and such great control of the fight. So yeah, Omega Sentinel, fantastic character, great rank up for sure. She needs to go to rank 3 eventually, man. I have to get on that ASAP because she is definitely worth it. But yeah, that boss was such a straightforward fight, and this one is even more straightforward. So this has the Hubris node. I think I said it right. I hope I said it right. But what it does is basically her damage output, Cassie Lang's that is reduced by 90%. But whenever Purgatory throws a special attack, you lose that damage res. And additionally, any damage done in that window is multiplied by like 400%. So Power Sting is the name of the game here, and Power Stings just shred Purgatory really, really fast. Like, look at that, man. The Power Sting's just doing a ton of work there. And now we have an intermission because I got enough shards to form a 6-star crystal because of the path rewards in 7.4. So the path rewards are honestly a pretty great feature. I really like what they do with them there, and I got enough shards because of it. So let's see this 6-star crystal. Just hopefully something good, man. My 6-star luck has been pretty dry on this account as of recently, so I need something to help pick it back up. There are some great champions in the real. There is Moondragon, there is Clairvoyant, there is Quicksilver, and we land on a 6-star version of Spider-Ham. Now that is a great pull. Spider-Ham is a fantastic champion, a great Power Sting character, and like I said, Power Sting is such a great mechanic, so having 2 Power Stingers is always a really good time. So I will take that for sure. And here he is, gonna be put on backup for this Mojo boss because he's a great Mojo counter. And yeah, man, Spider-Ham doesn't get enough love, in my opinion. He is such a phenomenal character. He has the degen-res. He has some of the best Power Sting damage. I know Cassie is more safe, but Spider-Ham is more dangerous. Like, his Power Sting damage is absurd. I've seen the Battlegrounds gameplay of him. Wild, man. Just so wild. But yeah, this Mojo boss isn't really anything all that. Cassie Lang is by far the best counter for it, for my account at least, because of the buff immunity. But yeah, nothing to it here. He just has Osculate and some other nodes. And there he blocks my SP2, which is fantastic. So it's a slow fight for sure. It is definitely slow because rank 2 6-stars against Act 7 health pools and boss health pools as well is not the best time, but it's still doable, and that's all that matters, right? But yeah, this boss fight is pretty boring. It's just really standard, and Cassie Lang is really awesome, but sometimes a bit boring because the Power Stings, they do their job well, but besides that, she has not too much damage. The SP2 is pretty great, but how I play her is I play really safe, so I don't go for the SP2 that often, so I do miss out on that damage for sure, and that's like a me issue, right? That's the wrong way of playing her, the way I do it, so I gotta get better at Cassie Lang. But she's doing pretty well here, man. Like, the fight's almost over already, and it wasn't too long. For a rank 2 6-star, her damage output is pretty great. There I drop the Relic, then I drop a nasty SP2, and that ends the fight pretty well. And now we have this Namor boss, and this Namor boss is honestly such a fun fight. So every 20 seconds, he places a degen on you, right? But if you have a special attack, and you're using it while the timer expires, he gives you a Fury buff instead, and this Fury buff is massive, so it becomes a really nice time with any good damage dealer. Like, check out the damage here, man. He is doing some pretty great damage as a rank 4 ascended 5-star character. And CGR is just so crazy, man. Even as a 5-star champion, just a powerhouse and a half. Like, 56,000 crits, that is unreal for a 5-star champion. But we drop the SP1 here, we get the Fury again, and things are just looking really good for us. So here we drop the Relic, we drop the SP2 one more time, and that doesn't do it, unfortunately, but hey, he's almost down at least. Then I drop the SP1, and that finally ends the fight. And now it is time for this Kang boss. The final showdown, the big bad Kang. Let's see how we do here, man. I was nervous, and to prove my nervousness, I get completely folded in this first attempt because it was such a long time since I've done it, and yeah, I just didn't do well in the slightest. I couldn't get anything going, so I just pretty much died instantly. Really fun fight, really fun time. But for real though, this boss fight is really fun. It is a great one overall, and like I said, man, he can be done with any champion, and that's what I like about these new boss fights. They can be done with pretty much anyone, and here I just get thunderclapped. I got destroyed so badly, but like I was saying, it can be done with anyone, even Archangel, but I was just bad at the game right there, so I messed up big time. But Sandman does a lot better here, thankfully. We drop the SP2, we get no debuffs because of his immunities to stuff, which is really annoying, but it's whatever. And then the first wounded phase is about to begin after we get this going. We almost have the 10 charges. Oh wait, I didn't explain the fight. Let me explain it real quick. So basically, Superior Kang has this counterattack mechanic, right? And to activate it, you have to do certain things. Like you can either stun him or try to intercept him or try to heavy counter him or let him throw a special attack and try to retaliate that one. There are certain ways to help activate the counter attack, and once he activates it, then you can parry or dex it, and doing that gives you a charge. And at 10 charges, he like gets stunned, he gets wounded, and that's how you deal damage. And with Kang here, you do increase damage depending on the phase. Like phase 1 I think is the amount of buffs that you have, while phase 4 is the amount of damaging debuffs on Kang. So you want to have a very diverse champion that can really help get him down, that has access to buffs and debuffs. So Sandman is a great option, Diablo as well, Red Goblin, who is a 7-star champion, so if you have him, you know, you can use him here. And once you complete a phase, you think it's over, right? But no, it's not, because he does this time warp thing, and then bam, you're in phase 2, and then phase 3, and then phase 4. And each phase gets harder as time progresses. Like this phase right here, he can change the speed of the counter attack. So if you have poor reflexes, I have bad news for you. This fight will be a pain. This fight will be pretty terrible. And it gets only worse from there, because eventually he will have this weird ability where he can memorize the last input that you did, and if you repeat that input to try to counterattack or try to get the counterattack, he will stun you instead and do some pretty nasty damage to you. So he is a pretty tough boss fight, and he is a really unique and innovative boss fight as well. So I'm a big fan of this boss fight. I think it's really well done, and like I was saying, he does have that memory thing, and it can be pretty annoying as well. And then the worst part is, after phase 4, or like during phase 4, he has the memory thing, he has the slow motion or the fast motion, and that applies to his special attacks now as well. So it is a pretty complicated fight that gets even worse as time progresses. So once you learn him, you'll do pretty decent, I want to say, but he does get really annoying to deal with eventually. Like right here, we get the wounded going, we get the damage, and this is the next phase. And this cutscene is just so good. I feel like we deserve more cutscenes for these boss fights. Like, Bahamut doesn't have one, Scatalis doesn't have one. If like the champion had one, that'd be amazing, because he is such a confident dude. So yeah, it probably does cost a lot to make these cutscenes, but if they did do it, it would make these boss fights even cooler, because these boss fights are already some of the best things in the game, in my opinion. They're so unique, and the way that they're done as well is just really good. And they graduated from just making them complete cash grabs like the Collector was and the Abyss Collector was, to just having more creativity with them, like this Kang boss, and then Scatalis and Bahamut, and then eventually the 8.3 boss, which is this Iron Man that is really cool. I saw the live stream and I saw like the designer go over him, and yeah, looks pretty amazing. The animations are great, the kit looks pretty wild as well. So I cannot wait for that boss fight. 8.3, I am pumped, and hopefully I do it on both my main account and this account. So this fight is going pretty well. Diablo is just such a beast, and Kang has some of the best animations as well. Though I have one complaint about this boss fight. He just looks kind of unsettling, right? He looks like a doll, and I don't know, it's just kind of creepy, but I guess that adds to the fear factor of the boss fight. But then again, Kang isn't supposed to be creepy, he's supposed to be like this really cool dude, but he doesn't seem really cool here. He seems like a big creepster, right? But besides that, the animations are top tier. The victory animation is one of the best in the game, though I feel like the new best one just dropped with Werewolf by Night. That one looks insane. The Vox one as well, also super good. Man, these victory animations are just so good as of recently. We are just really eating good with this phenomenal art team. And this fight is going well enough. Omega Sentinel, pretty great here. And we're now in the final phase of this boss fight. This is the last phase, and then Act 7 is complete, and we can just enjoy the nice rewards that we get with it. So in this final phase, you do more damage if you have damaging debuffs, and I didn't know that at first, so I was using champions like Omega Sentinel, who to be fair does have damaging debuffs, but I should have used like Diablo or something. But the fight still does go pretty well, and like I said, in this final phase, he gets even harder because he has the 2 mechanic like sensors. I don't know how to describe it, but like he can just tell what you're doing, and it's really annoying. And then he has the fast motion or slow motion special attacks, as well as the counter attacks. So it is just a combination of really annoying stuff, but that was a pretty good first try. So let's try CGR here. And I didn't know that it was supposed to be damaging debuffs that get the extra damage bonus. So here I kind of just messed up by using CGR. No big deal though, like CGR is still CGR, so he will do some good damage at minimum. But I kind of played this one poorly as well. And yeah, right there. He knew that I already did the special attack once, so instead of counterattacking me, he stunned me and then just one-shot me. So you gotta be careful with that. It's pretty dang annoying, but once you get the hang of it, it's not too shabby. But we try again and we get destroyed, so that never happened. I go in one more time, I'm like, you know what? If CGR doesn't work, let's just try someone else. And this attempt is pretty decent. We get some damage going. CGR still hits like CGR, so he does good damage regardless of the fight. And yeah, I'll take that, man. Not too shabby in the slightest. We get some more charges built up for the next opponent, or the next champion that we use, sorry. And he might get an X wounded phase himself, but he doesn't because I missed the dex and then I get destroyed. So really fun time, but Omega Sentinel is about to carry me. Watch this. Look how good she is, man. Gotta appreciate her. Such a powerhouse of a character. And just kidding, I mess up and I do not survive. But now we have the final attempt. We have Diablo here. And Diablo gets the biggest benefit because he has a ton of damaging debuffs, which is what you want for this final phase. So we get the slow motion one to start off. We have 8 charges already, which is perfect because we're almost down to 10. And at 10, we get his wounded phase activated, which is what we want. So here we get the 10 charge, and now it is time to just counterattack him. But then I get hit, so I'm super scared, but thankfully we survive. So we can just go back in, get the debuffs built up, and then just start doing some pretty nasty damage. And this hopefully is the end of it, but I believe we have to do one more final phase. Or do we? Because look at that damage now. It is stacking up for sure. I dropped the SP3 here, I believe. And I think this is it, man. This might be it. This might be the final SP3 in Act 7. Let's see. We do a combo. It's in slow motion. And we get him down, thankfully. And that is Act 7 completed. It was a journey for sure, but hey, we got it done. Act 7 in the books. Not too shabby. That final Kang boss took some revives for sure, but hey, revives are meant to be used. So I will not complain in the slightest. Let's claim this stuff here. We have this tier 5 class Callus selector. I go cosmic for some reason, but look at that beautiful 6-star nexus. Hopefully something good is in there. Just hopefully it was worth all the effort of completing Act 7. You know, that Kang boss, the other Kang boss, the Gwen Master, all really tough opponents. So hopefully it was worth it in the end. But first off, this 6-star Awakening Gem Crystal. Now, please, something good here, man. I use a generic on Archangel, so anything but mutant, please. And the crystal stops, and it stops on a 6-star. Who would have thought a mutant Awakening Gem? Because of course it did that. So yeah, there is that mutant gem. My Archangel is awakened, so that's fantastic. Here it pops some more class Callus, no big deal. But that is just such a grand time, getting that mutant Awakening Gem when I don't have a mutant champion to use it on. How perfect. But let's open these 2 6-star champions. Hopefully something good here. Just someone who is fun and useful. I see CGR in the reel. That would be amazing. I see champions like Crossbones. Like even Misty Knight would be pretty fun to play. Baron Zemo. Kitty Pryde right there. And the first crystal is a 6-star version of Original Storm. Now that is a fantastic pull, man. Storm is such a phenomenal champion, and she is a 7-star now, but I won't get her for a while on this account, so I will take it for sure, man. She's going to go up to rank 3, and now we have an option for that Mutant Awakening Gem. So that turned out to be pretty dang sweet. And the next crystal is a 6-star version of Sandman. So that awakens my Sandman, which is pretty great because he's getting buffed and the signature ability is like a main point of that buff. So Sandman is now my top champion once more. You'll love to see it. Such a cool character, such a great champion as well. So I will take that, man. And let's see. the profile now. We got Sandman up at the top, we got Archangel, we got Omega Sentinel and Cassie Lang. A really good team of champions, but now it's time for the big one, the big 6-star Nexus Crystal. Hopefully something good here, man, please. So we open it, and the options are going to be a 6-star version of Clairvoyant, Archangel, or the Hood. Now this is a great Nexus, so many great champions here, all amazing. And I picked the Hood because he's such a great champion, he's super fun to play, and I feel like he's more fun than Clairvoyant, so I'll take it, man. A pretty good reward for Act 7 completion, so not too shabby in the slightest. And yeah, full speed ahead into Act 8 now. We gotta go fast, just wanna get that done ASAP. But yeah, let me know your thoughts on the Act 7 journey, and yeah, that's about it for me.